Hey everybody, Tom Barnes, Stories from the 78. And today's story is one that kind of, bounces around the city because as I'm talking to my friend here, Jiwon McCartney, like Paul, but not related. How you doing, Jiwon?
I'm doing fantastic.
Thank you for joining me. So you started Fight to Feed, and that is a nonprofit organization that you founded, and you work with chefs in different events that you are starting up. You did one in April. You're going to do another one in June. You got a couple other things in between, but it's really a nonprofit that serves all of Chicago. That's why I said it's kind of nomad. You guys aren't in one spot. You kind of go all around. Is that right?
That is correct. So the nonprofit Fight to Feed is really about reducing food waste while we get food to those who are in need, and that could come in form of hot meals to pantries. We serve our senior communities, and we started in 2014 getting meals right to the streets. We started on the underpasses. So Fight to Feed is a mission that is addressing the food surplus, waste, whatever you want to call it, and then of course the ultimate need of we're humans, we need to eat food 3 times at least once a day, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And you did this, the event that I was speaking of is In Culinary Conversation. And you did it right there in the Guild Row, which is in Avondale. That was one of the events, and you're planning on doing more. Explain what that event is, though, for people who might not know.
So, In Culinary is the community of chefs, brands, and organizations that have everything and anything to do with food. And it's about building a culture where we're vetted community where you could come in there and and be a part of that community and know that you're amongst I guess your peers. It's not, you don't have to muddle through like, who am I networking with. If you're needing a chef, you're in the in Arizona, and you're needing a chef in Chicago because you're launching a restaurant here. That's where it's about. It's what we intend the community and membership based community to be, is a global community that is all about food and beverage and on hospitality. That's including distributors and retailers, and all that encompasses food and beverage. And with that, there are 3 events, or 3 series that we are working on developing and getting to the market. And one of it is conversation series, and that is really to get to know the chefs. So
Yeah, it's an important thing, right? To hear what the chefs, what their inspiration is, what food they like, where their background is.
well, and if you're like me, I like to know who's cooking my food.
Exactly.
So I'm like, who's in the kitchen? But with that said, it's getting to know their stories. And I think chefs ultimately have a stigma, like, it's not TV. Chefs are real people, and they have, persevered through many walks of life and different stories. And those are really intriguing. And I think it's really important for the emerging chefs or the up and coming student chefs to know that, it's not easy. And we're a bunch of crazy people that's in this industry. But we're good. We're good folks, and we'll
Right.
solidly stand behind each other when support is needed.
Yeah, and to not always think it's that cutthroat thing where they see on TV, like with like Gordon Ramsay shows or stuff like that. Like that's all made for TV. It's all fake reality TV, right? I mean, I know
Yeah.
plenty of chefs that work their butts off just to keep the doors open, and they really, really enjoy serving the people of their neighborhood. That a lot of chefs take pride in that.
Yeah, and there, most of the chefs that I know that's in my database, they even if I don't talk to them all the time, I'll hit them up just yesterday. So I also have a restaurant that because I'm crazy enough, we I opened up with business partners. It's called Burger Alley Chicago. It's on
Oh,
829 South Wabash. And this chef texted me at 2:30 in the morning and said, the flat top's out. I'm like, what do you mean the flat top's out? Like, we're a burger joint. We can't open the doors without a flat top. So I know, and because this is the first restaurant that I've been a part of, and I'm like, well, I know how to do what I need to do, but looking for a plumber was probably not the high priority of knowledge to absorb in my
sure.
career. So I made an immediate text to the In Culinary kind of database I have, and I started at 5 o'clock, between 5 and 8. By 8:10, my flat top was fixed. Like,
Wow.
I
But that's
love stuff
amazing.
like that. It
Yeah,
really
that's
is.
community, right?
That is community at its best, and that's case study right there. I mean, like I'm telling you, my network, that when I go into In Culinary, like, it's kind of like one reaches 10, and then so on and so on. I mean,
Sure.
that truly does happen. And I mean, like when you want to go eat somewhere, you're gonna, say, "Hey, I'm coming into town," and you're gonna head a certain, I guess, group of folks that not the
Yeah.
other ones, because you're usually probably giving them advice over here, but over here, that they're gonna not steer you wrong. And
Right.
so that's kind of the community where we want to develop.
And how do people get to know more about what you do in these events that you have coming up? What's the best way for people to learn about that?
So it's inculinary.com. And of course, our social handles are In Culinary. So just it's on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Instagram. So go ahead and reach out to those social outlets. But we're on all the platforms, and the conversation series that just happened in Avondale was with Chef Brian Jupiter, and the next one coming up will be July 15th, which is a Saturday, 6 to 9, and that's with Danny Espinoza. And again, the conversation series is about to get to knowing the chef that's cooking the food and that's present in our communities. And they're doing community things as well as, emerging things with food in their lane. And it's getting to know their stories and where they came from, where they're going to. You get to taste the demo, you get samples of vendors that's going to be there to give you the experience. And then Fight to Feed is always present, because everything I do, because not only because I'm a founder, but because Fight to Feed is a nonprofit that doesn't have funding. We are truly the homeless nonprofit, as I said before. And so, our dollars and cents is really about moving the food to the community and getting the food to those who are in need.
Well, thank you very much for taking time to chat with me, to tell me about your story and your organization story. I have a new burger place I got to try out too. I didn't
Yes,
know.
you do.
Yeah.
You tell me when.
Yeah.
Let's
I have
try
a burger
everything on the
cave.
menu.
Yeah. I'm down. We could do a whole story on just your burger place. But
Yes,
Jiwon
yes.
McCartney, thank you so much for just taking time with me this morning to talk about this wonderful event, to just help, bring community together, and would love to talk to you about the burger place too. There on, you said Wabash, right?
829 South Wabash. Yep. We're in the
Yeah,
East West University building.
fantastic. I will follow up with you about that for sure. But until then, have a wonderful day. And I look forward to this next event here coming up in July.
Yes. Thanks so much.